I am trying to see just how close I can get to North Korea. I am going to the safest part of the danger zone, but in order to get there, I have to cross this active minefield. Let's go see just how risky the Korean DMZ really is.
This is a military area, the DMZ demilitarized zone.
The DMZ, or the Demilitarized Zone, is a heavily guarded buffer zone between the North and South Korean border, which was established to reduce tensions and prevent conflict after the Korean War Armistice Agreement in 1953. The Armistice Agreement is a ceasefire, not a peace treaty. This is important because technically the Korean War never actually ended. South Korea never signed the agreement because the president of South Korea at the time refused, stating that he didn't want a divided Korea. With the signed armistice agreement, prisoners of war were exchanged, all fighting stopped, and the DMZ was created. The DMZ zone became this long stretch of land about 160 miles long and 2.5 miles wide. While this area is called the Demilitarized Zone, this area is tightly controlled and highly monitored, making it one of the most heavily guarded borders in the world, complete with fences, landmines, watchtowers, and soldiers everywhere. So, due to the heavy military presence, it can still be very risky to enter, especially because of rising tensions between both North and South Korea. But despite all of this, that makes this place even more mysterious and fascinating to explore.
It is a very chilly February day here in Korea, so what better thing to do than to go to the DMZ? Let's go.
I started the day by hopping on a bus and meeting my wonderful guide, Nancy.
I don't really know what to expect, but I'm very excited to learn about the history.
The bus ride was about an hour and a half from the center of Seoul, so Nancy took this opportunity to brief everyone on the do's and don'ts for the day. These rules are important to follow because of the heavy military presence. I will admit, some of the rules Nancy gave were a little nerve-wracking, but I was mostly excited.
Alright, we have to wear these name tags the entire time, and we are Team Nancy.
This badge lets everyone know that I am with the tour, and it is super important that I wear it visibly and throughout the entire day. And now that I'm all geared up, I was ready for stop number 1, the Peace Park.
There's a lot of places where we can't take pictures, but this is one where we can.
The Peace Park is about 4 miles south from the border of North Korea and was built to promote peace and reunification. This was a strange place as it has war memorials, exhibits about the war, little shops, a gondola, an active minefield, and an amusement park. One thing that really impacted me while visiting this park was the fact that this is the closest place that South Koreans can get to North Korea. So this is the place where the older generation comes to mourn the loss and separation of their family members still trapped in North Korea that they haven't seen in many, many years. This stands out because on the other side of the park, you have the younger generation that doesn't remember the horrors of the war and the division, so they enjoy the amusement park. It's odd to be in a place that feels such sadness and joy at the same time, and it gives the park an eerie feeling. Besides exploring the memorials, I was able to buy some authentic North Korean cash from the little shop on site, and then I decided to take the gondola ride over the minefield for fun, and it only costs $7 US.
Alright, we're going on the gondola. And then below this field is actually a minefield, so that's why we had to take a gondola over it, because if you step on it, that would be not good. No bueno. Yeah, no bueno.
The bridge you see in the distance is the only connection between the two countries.
So this river is actually the natural border between North and South Korea.
After the gondola, I got to explore the inside of the DMZ and go into one of the tunnels dug by North Korea.
So the South Korean border, that's the North Korean border, and in between here is the DMZ zone. So we are going to the tunnel and we're going to go end up around here.
These tunnels are super fascinating because they were secretly dug underneath the DMZ by North Korea to try to surprise attack South Korea. There are 4 known tunnels which were discovered between 1974 to 1990, but people are very aware that there could be many more undiscovered tunnels and maybe even some being dug today. These tunnels are very deep underground and can house thousands of soldiers and heavy military equipment. The tunnel that I got to explore was the third tunnel, which was discovered in 1978 and almost a mile long. But before you enter the tunnel, they give you a hard hat for safety as the ceiling is very low. It takes roughly 20 minutes to walk to the end of the tunnel, and depending on your size, you may have to lean forward for the entire walk. Some people can also choose to take a monorail down, but that wasn't an option when I was there. Once you get to the end of the tunnel, you will be able to briefly look at the concrete barricade, which is the closest you can get to the official border of North Korea from underground. This tunnel is important because it was actually discovered by accident. And on top of that, North Korea denied that it was used for military purposes, despite evidence of explosives found inside the tunnel. All of these tunnels are significant because they show the serious threat that North Korea had intent to invade South Korea with a surprise attack. They also increased the tensions between North and South Korea because they instilled fear that an attack from the North could be imminent and unexpected. This was by far my favorite part of the tour, not just because of the history of the area, but because it's one of the most unique experiences I've ever had. After the tunnel, you can go and shop at the store run by the United Nations, which has some really cool souvenirs from North Korea. I bought North Korean alcohol and old vintage North Korean stamps. You can also purchase a part of the original DMZ barbed wire fence along with many other unique gifts. If you are now sold on booking a DMZ tour, I linked the one I took in the description. It was truly epic.
Okay, we are here at the red suspension bridge, and I think she said that it takes about 10 minutes to get up, and then we're all gonna walk over. So I figured out the view is really great, so I'm very excited.
And our last and final stop on the tour, which was an optional add-on that I chose to book, was a stop at the Dora Observatory Suspension Bridge. This bridge is known for its red color, surrounding scenery, and the chance to see into North Korea on a clear day. It spans across the Imjin River and stretches for 656 feet. To get to the start of the bridge, you have to take a short hike up a little hill and through the woods, which was a nice break in nature from the tension and painful history we learned about earlier in the day. I will say that while this walk up the hill was only about 10 minutes, I wouldn't recommend it for someone who may struggle with steep inclines and stairs. Because of the military presence, the only way to access this bridge is through a guided tour like the one I was on, and in my experience, it was totally worth it.
The bridge is very shaky. Can you hear it creaking? Yeah, you hear that creak? Alright, the red bridge was pretty cool. However, I would say if you were scared of heights, I would not recommend. That bridge was pretty high. Victoria, what are your thoughts? The bridge is also very wobbly, but it was fun. Right here on the bus, it's about an hour and a half drive back from the bridge to Seoul. So, the tour's over. It was really good. I had a good time. What'd you think? 2 minutes.
Thanks for watching my adventures through the DMZ. I hope you found it as fascinating as I do, and as always, don't forget to subscribe for more.